everyone, welcome back. Today we are making a zucchini and white bean soup with a tomato broth. It's going to be absolutely delicious and it comes together really quickly. Right now in my large soup pot, I have 2 shallots going in some avocado oil on medium heat. I'm cooking until they are nice and translucent and nice and soft. If you don't have shallots on hand, you can also use a medium white onion diced. I have went ahead and prepped everything so that when I'm assembling it, it goes a lot faster. I have a whole head of garlic minced. You could also have it chopped, ready to go on the side. I have a few stems of fresh oregano. I have all of my spices. Today we're using crushed red pepper flakes, some extra Italian seasoning, of course, salt, pepper. I have better than bouillon, chicken base. This is just going to intensify our broth. I have our tomato paste to turn it into tomato. And then I have some chicken bone broth as well. I have cut up 2 medium zucchinis into medium pieces. They are going to be going into the hot liquid, so they will soften down and become smaller. You still want them to be a bit smaller so that they will fit on a spoon and are easy to eat in your soup. Do have them salt and peppered already. That's just so that they're pre-seasoned before they go into the broth. We don't need to extract any of the water from the zucchini because it is going into a soup, so it doesn't really matter. All right, those are starting to look beautiful in there. I also have 1 can of cannellini beans that I have rinsed in a strainer. Those are off to the side as well. So everything's ready to go. We could just kind of toss it in the pot all together. So now that my onions are translucent, I'm going to go ahead and add in my whole head of garlic. I absolutely love garlic, so if that is too much for you, you can always do less or more if you want more. So in that goes. Going to keep a close eye on our garlic. We want it to be aromatic, but we don't want to burn it or singe it. Can give it a bitter taste if we do that. Lovely. I can smell it already. So good. Alright. Going to turn it down to low heat. We are going to add a tablespoon of butter into this just to really get it together, give it a rich, buttery taste along with those beautiful herbs. All right, we've added in that butter. Everything is coming together really nicely. If you want to add another dimension to this, you can, at this point, add in a splash of white wine would be really great. You want to use a wine that you would drink at home. So for me, I would use a Pinot Grigio that has a crisp finish, nice and bright and fresh. I don't tend to have wine on hand, so we're not doing that today. Beautiful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in just a small amount of our broth, just to coat the base. Beautiful. Now I'm going to add in our red pepper flakes. I don't like it to be super spicy, but I want it to have a slight spice so that gives it a little bit of a kick. My husband likes a lot of spice, but we do have 2 children and I want to make sure it's not overly spicy. So we're adding those in. So add as much or as little as you like. Going to add in some dried Italian seasoning mix. Again, if you don't like oregano, you could just add the Italian seasoning. I'm adding it at this point so that it's able to absorb some of that broth and bring out the nice flavors of those herbs. Now we're going to add in some of our tomato paste. I'm adding it now because I can really stir it and work it into it. If you add it when it's completely full, you're not going to be able to really mix it. It's going to splash everywhere. So if you have a new tomato paste, you're going to see it's closed, but your cap has a pointy end. All you do is you just press that right into it and then it opens it. Ta-da! So go ahead and squeeze a good amount in there. I would say it's about 1/4 of a cup. If you want a lot of tomato flavor in this, you can also add some crushed tomatoes. A large can of those, I would say. All right, go ahead and mix that up. You see here, this is what we've got going on. We're going to really mix that in there. See, I still splash everywhere, every single time. Beautiful. That looks really great. Now you can see that has all come together. Now we can really layer into that broth. I'm going to add in a small amount of salt, only a little at this time because I'm going to add the Better Than bouillon, and that does have salt to it. You can get a low sodium version, but I get the full amount. I'm going to add in some black pepper. Beautiful. All right, and then the rest of that bone broth is going in now. We're going to bring this up to a low boil, keeping it simmering together. We're going to let it simmer together for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we're going to come back. We will add that Better Than bouillon, give our broth a taste, and then we'll start adding in our vegetables. I don't want to add the vegetables in yet because I want the broth to really combine together. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so I did add 1 cup of water to increase our broth, and I also added a bay leaf. This has been going about for 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and fish out that bay leaf. It is all done. You don't want to eat that. Okay. Now that it is all fully combined, we are going to add in our Better Than bouillon. If you've never used it before, you want to go a little at a time. I have used it quite a bit. We have a large amount of broth, so I'm doing about a tablespoon size. And we're going to go ahead and mix that in completely with the hot liquid. Beautiful broth. Once that is fully incorporated, I'm going to taste our broth. Make sure we don't need any more seasoning before I add our veggies. Super simple. We do have a vegetarian-based one as well. So you can use veggie stock instead of the chicken bone broth, and you could also use the vegetable bouillon instead of the chicken bouillon in order to make it vegetarian or vegan. All right, looking good. Beautiful. When you go to taste your broth, do not burn your mouth. I'm going to do it off camera in case I do. I tend to burn my hands or my mouth all the time when I'm cooking. It happens, it's just who I am. All right, I tasted my broth. It is nice and spicy. It's well seasoned, well rounded. It doesn't need anything else. I'm going to go ahead and add in those cannellini beans. Cannellini beans are essentially white kidney beans. You can also use small white beans if you'd like. I do like to rinse mine before. In they go. The nice thing about canned beans is they are already pre-softened. If you try to soften your own beans, sometimes they can tend to be hard. You can have some inconsistencies, and it takes a lot longer to do. So that's why I used canned beans. They're just ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and add in my zucchinis. Now that we add these, it won't be long now before it's ready. Go ahead and get those nicely stirred in. And they're going to soften up nicely in that broth. I'm going to probably have it on medium-low. Look how pretty. So if you don't want this completely just vegetables, you can add in some tortellini. I'm going to make my husband some cheese tortellinis to throw in there. You can also add in some sausage in the beginning part when you're cooking your onions and garlic. You can throw in some ground sausage and chop that up in there as well. I do have a sausage soup recipe in my cookbook. This is essentially it. You're just going to add in some crushed red pepper flakes, the zucchini. That's what I love about soup. You can just add whatever you like into it, customize it, whatever you feel like that night. Get some crusty bread to sop that up. Oh, so good. So we're going to let this go for a little bit and I'll be back when it's all done. All right, our zucchini is nice and softened. We're going to go ahead and shut off that heat and we're gonna serve. Make sure you give it a good stir. I like to fill it with a lot of the veggies first and then we can add more broth on top. So you want lots of beans and zucchini. I mean, look at how pretty that is. Beautiful. I am not going to taste this on here because it is very hot and we have to run out the door to soccer. But look at how tasty. I hope you enjoy.